So, welcome to our podcast, Choose Joy, Choose You, with Helen Gitlevich. And today's episode, Allowance and Joy, is with my dear friend, Rachel Silber, who is a wanderer and a facilitator of possibilities, a friend, a wife, and a mom. And she is facilitating Access Consciousness tools since 2011 and is grateful for every moment with weird and wacky tools she loves so much. They are contributing to having ease with highs and lows of life, the mess and the masterpiece. Everything can change when we are present and are ready to see what is. So let's get curious and ask for what we would like. And here's Rachel Silber. Thank you, Rachel, for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. And boy, I need to puck and pod destroy nothing every time I hear um I hear that whole like list. It's like, well, and that's actually really interesting.
Let me interrupt you. Puck and pod is part of the clearing statement. And we will be talking about tools of access consciousness, which was created by Gary Douglas and co-created with Dr. Dan Hare. And if you're curious about the full clearing statement, not just puck and pod, which is point of creation and point of destruction, you can go to the clearingstatement.com website.
Yeah, you get all the goodies there. You find out about all of it.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because it really gifts you um a space, really, when you let go of points of view by, in this case, pocking and potting. And shout out to my mother who used to do the chicken thing like this and go puck and pod, because that's the only thing that she could recall. But that's okay. You can, do it whichever way works for you. You can do the full clearing statement. You can do, the little bit of it, the pock and pod. But when you let go of the points of view that are limiting you, you do step into it's not even stepping into, you allow a space of joy and of you, right? Of you and of joy and of allowance, of just the space for experiencing and for enjoying life in all of its glory. We have the mantra of access consciousness is all of life comes to us with ease and with joy and with glory. And that's all of it, not just the beautified, perfectly curated stuff. And it's not just the mess. It's all of it. It's embracing everything and everything that is on offer, in the world, everything that's there with ease and with joy and with glory. And it isn't about being manic.
No, joy is much, much quieter. And I'm glad you said when you let go of all those points of view, you go into allowance, but people don't know allowance because a lot of people confuse them with acceptance.
Yes.
And this is such a huge difference. I love access tools because they talk about acceptance being, oh, I get abused, so I'm a good person, so I'll tolerate that, I'll turn another cheek, all of that. But in reality, allowance is like, okay, you're doing something that I don't like, that doesn't work for me, go do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's an allowance. And what's interesting, what happens when we are in allowance, what I found, it doesn't create any more suffering. It actually allows us to be that space of joy, of ease that mantra of access talks about. Interest, what is allowance? Allowance is interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view. And that's actually about anything in life. Because we stress out pretty much about everything and everyone. I don't know, okay, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. I
No,
used to
but
stress
it's
that.
very true for I think everyone, and us too, of course, and also
Uh-huh.
everyone who may be watching this, anytime that they see it. That's the experience. I mean, we've come on this roller coaster ride called life and living. We've shown up here on the planet, and there are all sorts of experiences, but we have a choice in how we experience them. Like you were saying, you're talking about you, but no, this is a human experience on this planet. It's what we've all come here to be. But you were saying before
Human
I rudely
experience
interrupted.
is wonderful. No, no, no. I like what you're saying, human experience. But what if our human experience doesn't have to be what's prescribed by our parents, grandparents, and everybody before them? Because we got all those points of view that life is supposed to be a certain way, that this is a certain way, and this has to be a certain way. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And what I found through letting go of some of those points of view, that's not true. Because even right that I thought was right might not be right for another person. I always laugh about superstitions because if you look at the superstition, each country has its own set of superstition. And in Russia, if a black cat crosses your road, it's a bad luck.
Yeah.
In England, if a black cat crosses your road, it's a good luck. So which one is true?
Everything is the opposite of what it
Either
appears
one.
to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, quite literally.
Quite literally. And what if it's just a choice of a black cat to cross the road in this moment of time? And it
There's
has
no
nothing to
mouse
do
on
with
the other side.
exactly. Why did the black cat cross the road? There was a mouse on the other side. But what if it's just a choice? Maybe there was not a mouse there. Maybe it just decided that I'll just cross that path in front of that lady or that man and let them think what they decide what they want to think.
Yeah.
And how much of that, because I remember if black cat crosses my road, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Or I would go around so she or he would not cross my road or my path or whatever that was. And then I would be upset about it. How many of those little upsets adds up on the top of a little upset and a little upset. And eventually, what I found, a lot of people go into depression with so many overwhelming things. Each one of them is not a big thing, not a big deal. And yet, when you put them all together, it's almost like that little tiles that kids play. Okay, you put one, or the cubes, you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then suddenly the tower fell. Boom.
Or a good game of Jenga, same kind of thing. You pull out a piece
Yeah.
and stack it on top, and then at some point, the whole thing falls.
Boop. And what if we don't have to play Jenga? What if we can look at that tower and say, okay, that's enough of cubes there. Let me try something else here. Instead of trying to fix that tower that's falling, like the Tower of Pisa, that's been falling, but it didn't fall yet.
Yeah.
So, because people left it alone, they didn't try to fix it. And now it's an attraction. It's such a joy to look at the tower. I remember first time I saw it in Italy, it was like, oh my God. The only thing had fear of heights. So my friends went up there because at that time you still could go up on the tower. And I said, I'm not going there. And when they
Just because
came
it's
down,
there and it's beautiful doesn't mean that you must choose it. And that's another thing.
exactly. And actually, both of them came down and they were green because they were so scared. Because it was like, yeah, the tower was leaning this way, and that place where you actually look at the world from is at the incline, and there was no railing. So
Smart choice.
smart choice and awareness. And we don't use our awareness so many times or don't trust our awareness. I was so, I have to acknowledge my awareness. Yes, for little thing. For little thing, I trust my awareness. It's so funny. Rachel brought home a big salad from a restaurant. And she's like, Mom, would
Rachel,
you,
your daughter. I'm just
my,
clarifying for
yeah,
everyone who doesn't know.
sorry. My daughter brought a big salad from a restaurant because this Rachel does not live with me. My daughter does. And so she's like, Mom, would you like some salad? And I'm like, no. It was literally like that. It's like, no. And the funniest thing when she started eating it, she's like, Mom, that's so funny because there's a lot of cilantro in there. And I'm allergic to cilantro.
Mm.
So, how many times in life we know with absolute certainty that we shouldn't have something or shouldn't go out with somebody? And instead of trusting our awareness, like I trusted my awareness with a salad, what if we trust our awareness with people, with jobs, with everything and say, oh, I'll choose that, or I'll choose that? Because there's an amazing tool of light and heavy in access. Whatever is true for you will always feel light and expanding. Versus if it's not true for you, it will contract you and feel very heavy. Ugh. And how many times you've gone on a, or at least I've gone on a date and it felt very heavy, but he's a nice guy. He's cute.
Clicked all the correct boxes, but
Maybe not
your
even
gut
correct
was
buttons,
saying otherwise.
but I like him. But that like might
Or I
have
like
been,
being liked.
that's another thing. And or I don't want to be alone. That's another thing. And yet inside we were cringing. And then 10 years down the road, divorce, and you're like, now I feel very light.
Yeah. But what if we didn't have to do those roundabouts through challenges and difficulties? What if we trusted ourselves really to know that we know? And the tagline in Access is empowering people to know that they know. That's specifically gifting us tools and awarenesses to recognize what's true for us. And like you were saying before, it may not be true for the person right next to us.
Mhm.
You know, their experience and their choices and their lightness might be different than what's true for you, but that willingness to actually tap in, to get curious and to ask is allowance allows everything to show up without having it be judged as right or wrong or good and bad. It just is what it is, and you look at what's going to work for me and what's not going to work for me, and if it doesn't, then you don't have to have it be in the same room as you. You don't have to keep, standing next to someone who's judging you and spreading their points of view at you that you might not like. You go, okay, it's kind of like being in a room when someone farts. Sorry for the graphic, but it's like that when someone judges you. It tells you about their digestive system, what they've had for lunch, what their points of view are, it tells you about them, and in a very graphic, metaphor kind of way, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's their digestive system, it's their judgment system. And allowance is not acceptance, like I have to sit there and take it. Allowance is, I'm just going to walk outside to the balcony where there's fresh air, or I'm going to make a different choice, or I'm going to crack open the window, or whatever the case is. You don't have to put up and shut up. You get to actually choose what creates and brings lightness in your world.
Yeah, instead of smelling something that is very unpleasant, all those judgments, all those things, you can choose not to be there and have your joy, your kind of like space of being, where you actually choose what you desire, what you like, what you actually aspire to have, to be, to create, instead of following somebody who's farting in your face pretty much. And I like that analogy because
because
that's,
it's so direct and clear.
Mhm. But people think that judgment is something that they have to work on. I grew up with my grandma telling me, I'm criticizing you because I love you. So you can change, that you can be better. But what if it's not?
Constructive criticism.
Yeah. Constructive criticism is nothing more than a judgment of that person based on their points of view, what's right and wrong. Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with us. That's a fart that they put on us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead of saying, oh, this is just a fart, we're like, oh, there is some truth in that. So I have to change. And so what do? We start
But,
contracting, we start cutting off parts of us that actually what allows us to have that joy, to have those infinite possibilities.
but before that, as soon as you hear their constructive criticism, but it matches with a judgment that you have of yourself, is where you begin to solidify it
Yeah.
and take it on as real and true. Otherwise, it would go in one ear and out the other. So, what if people would recognize when something comes in rather than trying to figure it out, just go, okay, so anywhere I have this point of view or anywhere I bought this as real and true about me, who cares if it is or it isn't? But whatever I've bought about this as being real and true, I now destroy and uncreate all of this. Anywhere I've been like this, done this, acted like this, whatever it is that I've already prejudged in a way, and their judgment came in like Velcro, holding on to the judgment that I have, I destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. And from there, go into what you were saying.
Yeah. But even without the clearing statement, because some people don't know the clearing statement.
So they can
If
just
they're,
POC and POD or destroy.
yeah, they can buck and butt, but they also can ask, who does it belong to?
Yeah.
Because a lot of those judgment that they have about themselves that predates that constructive criticism, it wasn't even theirs. It was maybe parents, grandparents, somebody gave them that. And they bought it because that was authority figure or somebody they loved and they wanted to please them. So to please them, they have to internalize their judgments and try to change and cut parts of themselves. So it's all about what are we choosing in the moment? Are we choosing to continue those judgments that we bought? Or are we going to continue with the suffering? Or are we going to choose to thrive with ease, joy, and glory? What if it's just a choice to let go? I remember Gary Douglas, who is the founder of Access, talked about, yeah, you can do the clearing statement till the end of days until you actually choose something. Nothing is going to change. What if you, like today, listening to this podcast, maybe now or in the future, you pick one point of view that is not working for you in less than seconds and choose something different. Choose to let it go. Let's say when you were a child, somebody told you you're stupid. And what if it's not true? What if you never were stupid? You just were different than that person that was telling you this, trying to kind of like suppress you and depress you so you will never be greater than them. what if it's now the time for you to say, I'm not stupid. I'm actually greater than I think I am. I'm very smart. And just choose that point of view and
You
allow.
can ask the universe to show you, hey, show me where I am a gift and a contribution, where I am smarter or brighter or more valuable than I've given myself credit for so far. Show
And
me.
allow yourself to be that energy. And the universe will show you pretty much instantly or not. Maybe now, maybe in 10 years from now, it will show you, but it will definitely show you. The only kind of like thing, it never shows up the way you think it will,
Ever.
ever. Just look for possibilities. Look for things that actually there that contributing to you, even if they don't look like you thought they would.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
that,
amazing what can show up and what can gift and contribute to us that we never ever would have even imagined. And if we're open, the things can show up differently than we've imagined or thought. And I know we're speaking about access consciousness, but I will say the first time I met you in 2013, you told me that you were also a facilitator teacher of the Akashic Records. And I was like, literally, I did like one of these numbers, like, no, keep that away from me. I've got access tools and that's enough. Like that's consciousness. And the thing is, I excluded all the different other flavors and possibilities that are available, and I didn't even think about it. It just, like, nope, that's not for me. And yet, since I took my first class with you in 2017 of the Akashic Records, I've incorporated them into who I be in the world, and they're part of my life. I open my records almost every day. You've asked me to read the forgiveness prayer several times in the morning and several times at night. I've not been so good at that, but I love the forgiveness prayer because it is about being in allowance. It is about letting the the energy and the space of joy and not having a fixed point of view. Everybody has points of view, we all do. But the thing is, when we're interesting point of view, it's not being a fixed point of view. It's movable, it's shiftable. You can look at, um, how is this working for me or not? And when you allow yourself to look at a situation from not just one direction, but you can allow yourself to be a space that notices it from other areas, there's such a huge gift that opens up in the world. And I'll add, my mother passed away in February. We had a she had a very challenging month plus of being in an ICU situation. And the allowance really and the gift that she was to each of us, including all the nurses, including all the doctors that went into the room, when they were willing to notice the gift of the space, that no, there was no good outcome, so to speak. It's not like things always turn out the way we think they should. No, but there was such a gift in her energy and in what she invited each of us to step into being. That's part of all of life comes with ease and joy and glory, and part of not defining what um, joy actually is. This space of allowance is you can see it from multiple perspectives, and you can be present and you can be curious. And no, it didn't work for me what was going on with my mom. And it worked for me simultaneously because I recognized the gift that she was being and how people were being transformed around her. There was a softening, there was an opening, there was something that was different. So no, it's not something that I'd wish on anybody. And yet there was such a gift in that experience as well. And And that's on us to choose to look for the gift and the beauty in every experience.
Exactly. Because joy can be in like in that second of looking at your mom when she was still alive and before she passed on. That's why I wrote that book, Choose Joy, Choose You, because that's part of our life experience. Doesn't matter what's going on that around you. And I know you just muted yourself because there was noise around that. What if noise can be a contribution as well? It's about us choosing what we introduce into our lives, what we live out. That's the allowance. That's the piece that people forget, that we don't have to experience all of the suffering, but if suffering is there, we don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
It's funny because that comes that old joke about the difference between the horse and the person. When the horse gets bitten, like somebody hit it with a stick, the horse hurts, like it's painful. And then there's no more pain, the horse is happy. When a person gets hit by the stick, there is a pain, of course, physical pain, but then there is an emotional pain. Why did he hit me? And then there is also a pain. Oh, I'm suffering. It must be, I'm a bad person. And then the judgment comes in. And then I don't remember the whole thing, but eventually people suffer over their suffering.
Yes. And you have so much therapy and so many other things
Exactly.
because it's all of our thinking about the suffering
Because it's a
rather than,
suffering about suffering about suffering and about suffering.
yeah, yeah,
And that's where the allowance and stop judging comes in, where we can just, okay, it was painful. What do I choose now?
yeah,
In my first episode, I talk about being upset and working with kind of like the tools of 10 seconds. Okay, I'll be upset right now for 10 seconds and then I will not. So you can, if you didn't listen to the first episode, you can go and listen to that again. Or if you forget, because the choice is good only for 10 seconds. We don't have to suffer the rest of our lives. We don't have to be angry for the rest of our lives. We don't have to hate person for the rest of our lives. We can just be in that space of joy and choose what am I going to be next
yeah.
and just be.
But I also love that that you speak about allow that, indulge in that suffering or in that pain or in that anger or in whatever that is. Like you don't try, a lot of people, they'll talk about positive thinking and they'll talk about you have to force yourself to think of only good things. I hear people just stay happy and get there. Just get happy and stay there. Like that's the only thing that counts. But the thing is, when you're recognizing that you do have choice in 10 seconds, you could go into the I'm grumpy about this and I'm upset about this or this really hurt or whatever, but you don't have to stay there. That 10 seconds allows you that movement, and that movement allows you to just open up to a different, almost a dance of possibilities on the planet. Yes, you could stay upset. Every time I open up my freaking Instagram, I get into, you know, and I have a choice. I can close my Instagram or I can go search for someone that I know is a contribution and is fun, and I can go look at funny cat videos, or I can do something else or choose something else. Or I was just thinking today, I saw yet another gubernatorial candidate, a Republican in this case, in California, wanting to jail people with beliefs similar to mine. So I was like, wow, what the heck? So it just made me say, what would it be like if instead we'd flood the world, the media, the whatever, everything with, spread bliss, spread joy, spread allowance, spread, have your bars run. Like go around the
Yeah,
world
that's
running
another
people's
thing.
bars. Like, hey, when you're in bliss, you don't focus on hating anybody. You're just like, hey, bliss, ease and joy and glory. And life is so different than we have to, scapegoat and blame and hate. And, that's not allowance. It's
No.
creating separation and exclusion and walls and barriers and barricades. And our choice to see it and go, not for me, I'm going to choose something different is actually huge and is just beginning to reverberate in my world. So I'm really grateful for all of these tools and all of these conversations. Is what a difference
And
they make.
laugh
And the
more.
hummingbird comes and
Yeah.
laughs.
And laugh more. This is about laughter actually heals our planet. Laughter and joy is opposite of what's killing our planet right now, the negative emotions.
Yeah.
And that's my invitation for you. I know the podcast is this episode is coming to the end, but there is a next one. And in the next one, I'm interviewing Mikal Rai from Israel, and we will be
Right.
talking about, yeah,
And we just played with her on a live, by the way, that you guys can
yeah, on Facebook.
Helen on there.
So, and we just did the whole series on allowance, on gift of
Gift of
allowance on the
allowance.
book.
Yeah.
And so I invite you to a different possibility, different way of living. Choose joy, choose you. And you're welcome to read the book at some point. Love you all. Bye bye. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you,
Thank
everybody who
you.
listened and will be
Yeah.
listening in the future.